In a place just a few borders away from the rest of the world, millions survive on tree bark to get through winter, while their leader sips Bordeaux wine amid 20 private palaces and multi-million-dollar yachts. This is North Korea, where truth is censored and poverty is disguised beneath nuclear fireworks. And in today's video, we're pulling back the curtain on North Korea to uncover the hidden truths and the chilling secrets buried behind the mask of power. Behind the curtain of power lies a brutal truth, where power is measured by the number of mansions you own. An empire of luxury in a starving nation. While millions of North Koreans survive on boiled corn and watery porridge, somewhere beyond high walls, steel gates, and layers of armed guards, a banquet table stretches for meters, laid with Kobe beef, French cheese, Bordeaux wine, and Cuban cigars. This isn't a scene from an Italian mafia film. It's Kim Jong-un's everyday dinner. This man doesn't live in a house. He resides in a network of at least 20 mansions, each equipped with artificial lakes, private helipads, and bunkers built to nuclear war standards. One of them, residence number 55, contains a 1,000-seat cinema, a private railway line, and bomb-resistant walls. His homes have no addresses. Only satellites can capture them in full view. His garage holds over 100 supercars, Rolls-Royce Phantoms, armored Mercedes, Maybach S600S, Lamborghinis, and Audi R8S, each worth millions of dollars, smuggled in through China and the Middle East, defying international sanctions. He owns 3 private jets, a nearly 100-foot yacht, and a watch collection valued at over $8 million. And yet, as he raises his glass of Bordeaux, his country starves. According to the United Nations, over 40% of North Korea's population, nearly 11 million people, suffer from severe food insecurity. In many regions, grass and tree bark become survival rations in winter. At the very moment Kim purchased a $1,500 bottle of wine, a mother in Ryanggang province was boiling rocks with salt, hoping to trick her child's stomach into thinking it had eaten. Every year, North Korea spends over $12 million on imported tobacco and $2 million on hard liquor. Not for the people, for the ruling elite. This is no longer just inequality. It is absolute division between the ruler and the ruled, between myth and reality. In this country, one man can have everything, and the rest have nothing but silence. So what would you think of a country where millions go hungry, while their leader owns hundreds of supercars and sips Bordeaux each night? Is that the privilege of power? Or an unforgivable injustice? Luxury is only the surface. Underneath lies a life run by fear, and that, more than the throne, is what Kim Jong-un protects each day, his own survival. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. What comes next will reveal the unseen darkness behind the smile of the world's youngest dictator. Obsessed with death, security fit for an emperor. Imagine this. At dawn, you leave your mansion. 3 identical armored vehicles pull out at once. Not even your own bodyguards know which car you're actually in, because if anyone knew, they could sell that information, and you might not make it back alive. That's the daily reality for Kim Jong-un. At his side is an elite team of personal guards, every single one exactly 1.75 meters tall, scar-free, clean-shaven, and required to look alike. They're trained in martial arts, sharpshooting, and psychological warfare, but they're more than protection. They are part of a stage production, a carefully constructed illusion of untouchable power. Yet behind the illusion is a man haunted by the fear of being killed. And that fear isn't paranoia. It has precedent. In 2017, Kim Jong-nam, his half-brother and once a possible successor, was assassinated at Kuala Lumpur airport with VX nerve agent, a toxin so lethal it can kill on skin contact. The world was shocked, but insiders understood. The message was clear. No one is safe, not even blood. Just a few years earlier, Kim ordered the execution of his own uncle, Jang Song-thaek, once the second most powerful man in the country. The execution was public, cold-blooded, and symbolic. Since then, generals, advisors, even longtime loyalists have quietly disappeared. This isn't Stalin-style leadership. This is the rule of a man who knows. Power is born from fear and can die by betrayal. Kim Jong-un didn't just build a government. He built a living fortress where every handshake, every step, every glance is calculated. Ordinary citizens can't approach him. Officials can't trust him. And perhaps he trusts no one at all. In Kim's world, security isn't a measure. It's a survival instinct. So if you have to live every day with identical bodyguards, armored convoys, and the constant fear of assassination, is that still power? Or just an invisible cage? But to truly understand the man he is today, we have to rewind to a time before he was the supreme leader, when he was just a boy living under a fake name, somewhere in Europe. The Swiss schoolboy and the journey that changed his destiny. Zurich, Switzerland. A quiet Asian boy walks into class, using a fake name, wearing a blank expression. No one knows who he is. No one knows that his father rules over one of the world's most isolated nations, a country where every poster bears the face of the Kim dynasty. But that man, Kim Jong-il, knew exactly what he was doing. He was sending his red-crowned prince to learn how to become Western. At age 11, Kim Jong-un didn't grow up in the glow of revolutionary banners, but in the shadows of the Swiss Alps, eating lunches with Swiss cheese, spending afternoons shooting hoops with international classmates. He adored Michael Jordan. He was obsessed with NBA basketball, memorizing every move, every shot. And perhaps it was here, thousands of miles from Pyongyang, where Kim first saw a world that didn't revolve around statues, worship, or myths. But even in Switzerland, he was never truly alone. He never walked to school by himself. There was always a man by his side, not a father, not a teacher, but an armed bodyguard. Kim wasn't simply sent abroad. He was monitored, shaped, and trained, not just to study, but to observe the West like an heir who could not afford to fail. When he returned, he brought back something his father and grandfather never had, an outsider's perspective, a Western lens, and that changed everything. Kim Jong-un emerged different, a leader who understood image, who mastered the media, who used smiles and handshakes to conceal an iron fist. He didn't just inherit the throne, he rebranded it. From a student with a fake identity to the man who commands a nuclear arsenal, Kim Jong-un didn't rise to power by fate. He was programmed for it. That boy grew up, returned home with a new worldview, a Western playbook, and a new strategy for domination. Shape perception, control the narrative, build a myth through media. And if you think you already know Kim Jong-un, what comes next will make you think again. Because behind the image is a production as crafted and calculated as a Hollywood film. Behind the smile of a young dictator. A gentle smile in a rice field, a handshake with a coal miner, a bowed head at the bedside of a frail child in a provincial hospital. These moments play endlessly on North Korean state television, painting Kim Jong-un as a kind, fatherly figure, always close to his people. But behind each frame is a director, not a journalist. Because in North Korea, Kim Jong-un is not just a leader. He is a carefully crafted symbol, the lead actor in a meticulously staged media production, where every step and every facial expression is calculated. Since assuming power in 2011, Kim has been portrayed as a kind of secular saint, always in his high-buttoned black coat, never frowning, always standing taller than those around him, and never ever showing weakness. His distinctive haircut, shaved sides with a stiff, high top, is so iconic that the government banned civilians from copying it. In fact, only 10 hairstyles are allowed for men nationwide. Kim's style, exclusive, untouchable. In schools, children are taught that Kim could drive a car at age 3, that he doesn't need to use the bathroom, and that he can work through the night without sleep. These things don't have to be believed. They just can't be questioned. It's a rule-by-image strategy. Deify the leader. When no one dares to ask questions, the myth becomes immortal. When the image is perfectly censored, truth becomes irrelevant. Kim Jong-un doesn't need to be right. He only needs to exist as an untouchable icon, a flawless face amid a sea of hunger, a smiling man in a country that survives in silence. And that is perhaps the most terrifying kind of power, the power of a man whom the people can no longer imagine any differently. But cameras don't capture everything. They don't show the moments when the crowds are gone, when the image fades, when the mask slips. And all that's left is one man, alone in the long night haunted by a name: longevity. The truth about his health, mood, and private life. By day, he appears like a monument, cold, unshakable, untouchable. But when night falls and the cameras turn off, Kim Jong-un becomes human again. And that's the part North Korea's regime never wants the world to see. According to reports from South Korean intelligence, Kim is battling multiple chronic illnesses: severe obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and gout. Diseases born from a life of indulgence and imbalance. His weight has reportedly soared past 280 pounds, a sharp contrast to his youth. And on countless sleepless nights, he's known to summon lavish 2 a.m. meals: Kobe beef, lobster, Swiss cheese, and expensive imported wine. It's a diet not meant for the body, but for the mind. Eating to silence anxiety, drinking to drown nameless thoughts. This obsession with health has not only changed his lifestyle, it has allegedly led to a top-secret project, a longevity initiative. A confidential team of medical specialists, biotech experts, and pharmaceutical researchers is rumored to be operating in Pyongyang with one singular goal: to keep Kim alive for as long as possible, not just because he's the leader, but because he is the linchpin of the entire power structure. His family, like everything else in North Korea, is wrapped in secrecy. His wife, Ri Sol-ju, a former light music singer and educator, rarely appears in public. Their 3 children are known only through Dennis Rodman, the unlikely American friend once invited to play basketball in one of Kim's remote palaces. Rodman described him as a gentle father, a sports fan, someone who laughs a lot, and someone deeply lonely. A man surrounded by mansions and fine wine, yet without a single circle of genuine trust. Absolute power, but also absolute isolation. In Kim Jong-un's world, health isn't just a biological concern. It's the fragile line between personal survival and the continued existence of an entire regime. Because when you are the center of every belief, every myth, every fear, death is no longer a private matter. It's a system collapse. And perhaps that's why Kim is trying to live longer than his body allows. And when the last light in his office goes dark, he retreats into the one place no one can follow, a fortress not just built from concrete, but from a deep fear of losing control. A hidden life beyond the lens. When the state-run TV fades into another patriotic song and dance program, when the armored convoy turns off the main roads of Pyongyang, and the footsteps of bodyguards vanish into the dark, Kim Jong-un doesn't return to a house. He returns to a fortress. They call it Mansion 55, a secluded compound deep in the forest outside the capital, surrounded by moats, bulletproof walls, underground tunnels, and its own private helipad. Inside, there's a 1,000-seat cinema, a swimming pool, a private shooting range, and a nuclear-proof bunker. But that's just one of at least 20 luxurious residences scattered across North Korea. Some have their own trains, islands, and private railway lines that connect to the national network. All are guarded by elite troops. No one knows where he is. No one is allowed near. No civilian has ever stepped past the gates. These aren't homes. They are bunkers built to hide from the very world he controls. According to recent satellite imagery, some of these mansions don't even exist on official maps. They're designed like wartime command centers, yet their interiors are as lavish as any 7-star hotel. Former staff describe multi-level underground bunkers, buried dozens of meters below ground, where Kim could run the country if nuclear war ever broke out. Every wall is a layer of defense, every door, a layer of isolation, and each estate is a physical embodiment of one thing: the fear of losing control. Despite having dozens of places to stay, Kim frequents only a select few. Each one is designed for dual use, to retreat and to rule. Together they form a residential network, a second body for the leader himself, where power is compartmentalized, tightly organized around a single axis: Kim Jong-un. No one escapes that system, not even Kim. He too is trapped inside the walls he built, a prisoner of his own fortresses. But behind it all, behind 20 mansions, behind armed guards, behind tightly controlled media, lies one question no one dares to ask, a question that could unravel the entire myth known as Kim Jong-un. The man who controls everything, but not himself? He can order the execution of a general with a single nod. He can silence an entire nation overnight. He can appear on television with a calm smile, even after launching an intercontinental missile. Kim Jong-un can control everything: the media, the military, the history, even the collective memory of a nation. But there is one thing he can never control: the fear inside his own mind. Fear of betrayal, fear of assassination, fear of dying before fulfilling the mission passed down by his father. Fear that if he falls, everything built over 3 generations could collapse on a cold morning without warning. And so, he lives in mansions, rides in armored cars, surrounds himself with identical bodyguards, eats lavish meals in the middle of the night, drinks snake wine, smiles for the camera, but no one knows when or if he truly sleeps, and whether when he does, he dreams. And perhaps the real question isn't about nuclear arsenals or hidden forest fortresses, but about the man behind it all. The secret life of Kim Jong-un, dictator or prisoner of his own power. A man who controls an entire nation, yet cannot control the fear inside his own head. So what do you think? Is Kim Jong-un a carefully constructed icon, or a man trapped in the very system he inherited? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep uncovering the hidden truths behind the world's most powerful figures, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you again in the shadows of power. This video was created with the purpose of compiling and presenting publicly available, legally accessible information. Some details may be speculative or unverified due to the secretive nature of the topic. We do not claim, accuse, or intend to defame any individual, organization, or nation. All content is intended for analysis, education, and public awareness in an objective and responsible manner.